Well, since the last episode of setting up a villager trading system, I have put in quite a bit more time, many golden apples, and we've even had to get rid of a few disappointing villagers on the way here. But the good news is, I think we have finally gotten our villager system ready for its first real test run to see whether or not this thing even works. I'm not sure, we're gonna find out here. So my main concern with this, like in a normal villager trading system, you keep the villagers right next to their workstations at all times. So if they ever need to restock, it's not a problem, right? With this one, we got them going around on a loop. They're away from their workstations at times. How's it gonna actually function? I hope it'll be okay, but I gotta admit my villager knowledge isn't perfect. I think it'll be okay though. We're gonna find out here. One thing I did notice, and this is very important, with this trading system, like if you're in a trade with the guy and he goes far away from you, it does not close the trading window. So you're free to close it whenever you want. That's very different from like some other mechanics in the game, like the crafting table. If you're trying to interact with the crafting table and you're doing your crafting, and for some reason it moves away from you or it gets broken or whatever, or you move away from it. Oh, any second here. We're in the water stream right now, getting farther and farther away, and boom, there, it automatically closed our trade window on us. Yeah, anyways, we got our pumpkins ready for trading here, and looking at our very sophisticated villager trade indicator. It's at 3 lights right now, which is telling me villagers are refreshing their trades at this time of day, which means if they aren't refreshing them in our system here, there's something wrong with it. Big time. Okay, here we go. And next guy pops up. Boom. Now we might play around with the timings on this loop and stuff. We might set it to manual. I'm not sure what we're doing with it exactly. This feels maybe a little too slow at the moment though. But this is the general idea to how the system will work. Oh, we missed a villager. Okay, sometimes that happens. Because kind of need to get a few more in there, I think. Alright. And we totally traded our stack of pumpkins. Okay, let's see when the guys come back here if the trade's refreshed or not. I think they have. I think this is the same guy now. Because we only have 8 in there. Right? Yeah, these are new trades. We didn't have these before. Okay, cool. Well, we're losing villager trade power. We're down to 2 lights, but that's fine. Let's keep it going here. For this guy, I'm going to actually wait a while before I trade with him, just to make sure I can. Like when he's far away here. Looks like you still can, yeah, good. And it's looking like our XP orbs are all kind of gathering together in one spot there. Okay, so let's talk about a few things here. You might notice this thing looks a little bit different from last episode. Remember last episode, I wasn't sure if they were going to keep dying in the system. Well, it turns out they were. When the chunks were loading and unloading, they seemed to be killing the villagers very randomly and rarely, but it was happening, so I had to do something about that. So we went with a little bit of a redesign here. There's no more pistons in the system or blocks being moved around because I think they were suffocating in those. Now we just have trapdoors. So one of our gates is over here. This trapdoor flips down, which allows them to flow through once they're inside the trapdoor. We also made a couple tweaks here and there with things, so there's like a soul sand block there now. And also, instead of having a piston above them here, we have a fence gate that flips open for a brief moment by the redstone here. Overall, the redstone's a little bit simpler and more compact, the whole system here. So that's good. They also seem to get through it faster. The only downside with the changes we made is that it takes them a little bit longer to go from this stage to into the compartment here. It takes like an extra second. Where do the items go? Well, if we're trading with these guys and we want to clear out our inventory at any point in time, we're going to be able to throw the items in the water streams. They pop up and then they fall down there. So they slip past the fence gate there, up into that stream, and then there's a 1 block high separator here, so the villagers can't fit through, but the items can, and then they fall straight down when they run into that fence gate. We can also separate the XP orbs that way, so if the fence gate is open, we allow them through, otherwise just the items go through. So our current plan is to have 5, maybe 7 of these looping cells with different types of villagers in. Then they will eject their items into a water stream. They'll all get collected together and go into a sorting system, which will sort the emeralds, the goodies we get from these guys, and all that kind of stuff. put them into shulker boxes, hopefully. Then I would also like it if we could have like some barrels next to the trading systems. Like maybe one of them holds emeralds that automatically refill when we take them out of there. So when we're doing a trade, we can just easily, you know, look to the left, grab some emeralds, and then, and then trade with the guys. You like my goofy laugh there? Anyways, let's fix that real quick here. All right, here we go. The lights are on. That means that they're going to start refreshing their trades here. We're doing a test to see how long it takes them to actually refresh all their trades. So they were all X'd out just a moment ago. We have one guy so far has refreshed. I suspect it will take a little bit of time. That one refreshed. Good. Like probably I'll have to get the 3 lights on before they're all done. I think they don't always refresh when they go by the workstations. I think it might take a few loops. I'm not entirely sure. That's what we're trying to figure out here. Okay, so far it's looking pretty decent, actually. Number 8 is coming up here. He was X'd out, and he's still X'd out. So I'm having an issue where 2 of them seem to not refresh their trades for some reason. All right, why? Why are 2 of them not refreshing their trades? Is it because they can't reach the workstations? I'm not sure. Let's try out a few more here. And the last guy has his trade refreshed as well. So all 8 of them have refreshed their trades. I guess it was because they can't reach some of the workstations. Tell you what, I'm going to be straight with all of you. Let's set some proper expectations for this project. We're not getting it done this episode. It'll probably take a few more. The plan is to work on it a little bit every episode until it's done, because this takes a lot of time. There's a lot of testing that needs to be done. I need to make sure they're not dying in the system still, so I got to let this run for quite a while. I also got to make sure their trades are refreshing properly. I want to run that a bit longer. I think they are, but I'm not entirely sure. And also, just to get the villagers ready for this takes forever. So thankfully, we got a little bit of a stock of them, but we're going to need a ton more. We need a ton more gold. I got to AFK at the gold farm. This is like a mini episode project, unfortunately. So to break things up with what we're doing here, we're going to focus on some of the cool, like, technical components we want to add to it and the area here. That's definitely not a base, such as this indicator. This that shows us when it's trading time with the villagers. I realized today, this might have been done before, I don't know, but that the power level on the daylight sensors, 13, 14, and 15, actually correspond pretty accurately to when villagers refresh their trades every day. So Minecraft day is 24,000 game ticks. From 2,000 to 9,000 is the workday for villagers. That's when they refresh their trades up to twice a day. And the daylight sensor is from 2445 to 9556 at 13 to 15 power level. So it's very close to those 2 numbers, right? So if 2 or 3 of the lights are on, that means the villagers are definitely refreshing their trades at that time. If only 1 is on, it's a little bit more inaccurate. And it also will be inaccurate if it is raining or a thunderstorm is going on, because that relies on daylight sensors, and it gets a bit dimmer outside during rainstorms. So that's the other thing to keep in mind. So this is actually very useful for us, though. I don't know if you've ever had it when you're trading with villagers and you've done a triple trade in a day, or maybe you've only been able to trade once with them in a day when you thought you could trade twice. What's going on? Well, I've had that happen a lot to me. It's very frustrating because you don't know if you're at the 0 to 2,000 part of the day or the 9,000 and beyond part of the day. When you're underground, you can't tell. That's why these lights are super handy, because I'll be able to know. So from 0 to 2,000, they don't refresh their trades. They can carry a trade over from the previous day, though. So you might trade with them, and then you'll be like, why aren't they refreshing? It's taking so long. Because that's like a minute 40 from 0 to 2,000. You might end up waiting for them to get a refresh, and then they can refresh it twice after that. That's how you get that triple trade day. But then you might also trade with them at 9,000 and beyond, and if you do that, you only get 1 trade with them, and you'll be wondering, why is that second trade not coming in? What's happening here? It's because you're at the end of the day and they're not refreshing anymore. This number is the B-dubs number, by the way, 12,542. Every single day in Minecraft, B-dub stops what he's doing and he right-clicks over top of bed, because that is the very earliest you can sleep in a day. Oh, this is a bit weird. We're flying right now. That's right. I like to be on the ground usually, but for the next thing here, we're going to need to be in creative mode. Our goal is to take our trade sensor and design it to work also during rainstorms, is the plan here. So what we're going to do, we're going to take this cool little sensor from Cortezarino, I think was the original inventor of this like 6 years ago. This thing will figure out if it's raining or not. So if we go weather, this is why we need to be in creative, and go rain, check this out. Give it a couple seconds and the light turns on just like that. What we need to do with our system, let's get rid of the rain, weather clear, is somehow add 3 power levels to our redstone line if it's raining, because that's about the difference between rain and not raining. How do we do that? First thing we're going to do is compact this a little bit. So if we take a comparator, put this in subtract mode, and get a barrel, to get 3 power levels from a barrel, you need 4 stacks of items inside. So we're going to do the opposite of that and go 4 stacks missing. All right, so that gets us down to 3 power levels. So 1, 2, 3. So if it started raining, what happens here? Can I show you? Takes a little bit every time. So look at that. It started raining, and now our sensor is not going to be accurate. It just lost 3 power levels on our thing. So we need to add that when it's raining. And to do that, the plan is to get this. We're going to do a double subtract. Have you ever seen this before? I'm actually kind of excited about this. I've never done this in redstone before. A double subtract redstone circuit here. What we're going to do, when it's raining, we want this to, I think, extend. And then we will have another barrel to subtract from this subtractor. I think we add the 4 in here then, right? Yeah, so it added 3 back. This is so confusing. I'm not going to try to explain this in super detail, but yeah, you see what it's doing, right? It added 3 back when it's raining. If it's not raining, it's not raining now, so that redstone line retracts it. And if the rain clears up, because the sun gets 3 ticks brighter, we get that power level back. Yeah, so I think all we got to do is add his sensor into our circuit, and we're done. So let's do that. It's just like an AND gate here. And oh, you see what I did there? And it's actually a bad habit of mine, but it actually worked out in that case. Okay. Instead of saying I say and all the time now. I hate it. I can't stop it. Okay, I think that's it. And we don't need this anymore. So now if it starts raining, this should still say 3 redstone power. Okay, so weather. I don't go on creative a lot. I stumble with the controls always. So it's going to go down. But then once it figures out it's raining, it comes back. But the proof is in the pudding, as they say. So let's test this thing out, because we want to use this in our trading system when it's all said and done. We want to make sure this is actually functioning properly. So again, we only want these lights to turn on during the trade times, which is from 2000 to 9000 of the day. So that means at 1999, these should be off, and they are. So that's good. But as soon as it hits 2000, we want them to turn on. But they don't, because the daylight sensors aren't able to get to the number we want exactly. They're late by 22 seconds. So at 2450 is when they actually start indicating. So if we go to 2450 is when it first turns on. And then it's fine through the numbers here. 3000, it's good. 4000, it's good. 8000, it's good. Till we hit the 9000s. So we want it to turn off at 9000. Ideally, in a perfect world, this should be off now. But you can see one light is still on. So it's inaccurate by a little bit as well on shutting off. It doesn't shut off till 9560, which is 28 seconds later than we ideally want. 2560 is when it finally shuts off. Now this changes a little bit during the rain. So if we're at, this is like generally we're going to be somewhere in between, and it's not really going to be a problem. Weather, rain. So right now it's indicating it's trading time. It starts raining. Normally that would mess up the system, but then it fixes itself there, so it's all good. But then again, if we go to 1999 is when trading hasn't started yet. It doesn't start actually when it's raining until 2060. So it's very close to the 2000 we want. It's just off by... Oh! Maybe I don't know what's happening now. Oh, I was off by a little bit of my number there. So it's about 3 seconds late on starting. 99:40. So that is 47 seconds later than we would like. But yeah, it should be pretty close to accurate for what we wanted to do. So that's awesome. We're going to add it to our trading hall there. Rain or shine, it's just not going to work during thunderstorms because I don't want to bother adding them. They're rare enough that I don't really care. And when it's thundering, you can hear it's thundering. So you'll know it's inaccurate during that time. And I might put some lightning rods near the thing as well so that we know visually that, you know, they got the sparks that it's a thunderstorm and it's probably not going to be quite accurate. Cool, cool. All right, very good. We got that figured out and ready for our world here, which we're back into now, by the way. So we're going to move on to the next thing. And it's going to be another sensor. Alright, so when I build stuff in this game, I always do function before form, is one of my general rules, and we're working on a new area here, and we want to get the technical stuff figured out before we actually start building, because otherwise it'll be, like, impossible later, or very difficult. So we want to get all our sensors and new techno gizmos figured out first. I really like the feeling in this game when you enter a room, and it comes to life. So, for example, in this trading room, how cool would it be if we approached the trading system and then they started going around on a loop? And normally they aren't, because it's actually not necessary if we're not observing them, right? It's actually just causing lag. It would be cool if it turned on when we got near it. Maybe lights came on in the room and a bunch of stuff started happening, right? That's what I'm aiming for. Yeah, I think the classic example of what I'm talking about here is our original storage room. You walk into the room and it just comes to life, right? I used to get so many comments about this in my videos. It just blew people's minds. They loved it so much. That visual appeal is just so good, right? We want to recreate that more in our world, I think. And to do it originally, we used pressure plates, which is fine, but now we have skulk sensors. I wonder if there's anything fancy we can do with skulk sensors. So the reason skulk sensors won't really work for what we want to do here is because they're just not really intelligent at all. They just do a function, right? They activate if they hear noise. That's it. So if we're moving around the room and stuff, it's fine. We can keep this thing lit up, but guess what? As soon as we stop moving, the skulk sensor doesn't know what happened to us. Are we in the room? Are we out of the room? What's going on? That person doesn't exist anymore. The light shuts off, right? Even if we add some countdown timer to it or whatever, eventually it'll shut off. So how do we get the skulk sensor to be aware of our presence? Like, I want it where you enter a zone, it knows you're there whether you're moving or not, and then when you leave the zone, it knows you've left it. That's kind of what we're trying to achieve here. Now, I think the way to do it is to get 2 of them first off here. So I want it so that we can do directional detection. So if we're walking this way, it'll know it. If we're walking like into the room, or if we're walking out of the room, we're trying to figure out how to do that first. Actually, everybody's favorite thing. Can we do this? We need to use locking repeaters, I think. How do we do that though? Because oh, this is gonna be more difficult than I thought it was. Okay, I gotta really think about this. So what we're trying to do here, as we approach, the one closest to us will activate first, and then we want to make it so it disables the second one. But then if we approach from the other side, this one will activate first, and then we want to disable this one. Actually, wait a second. I might have just had a eureka moment, actually. Let's try something here. Yeah, because the other thing is, not only do we need to disable the sensor, we also need to save into memory which direction we were moving somehow. There's actually something I've done similar to this before. Wait. Okay, let's try this out. You guys all know the hopper clock, right? Yeah. I think this will work. So if we get a block bouncing back and forth, because the pistons, they naturally cancel each other. A piston can't move another piston arm. So whichever one activates first is the one that goes first, right? Another one can't activate. So if we get the sensors like this, maybe not. Wait. What is happening here? Okay, let's test it out. So if we walk by, that one should activate, yeah. If we walk the other way, yeah, that's what we want to happen. We walk to the right, that one activates. Walk to the left. Oh, yeah. It's doing it. Okay. I think we might have something here. Here's what's going on, as far as I understand it. So this isn't actually a true, like, motion detector. It's not detecting which way our character's moving. All it's really detecting is what side of the line we're on. This is the line here, between the two skulk sensors, basically. So if we're on this side of the piston, right, it's always going to activate this one. It doesn't matter if we're walking forward or if we're walking backwards. Oh, not again. Oh, the good old dragon hole. So it is a directional detector, but only when we're crossing the line. In that moment, it can detect what way we're traveling. But otherwise, if we're on one side of the line and we're not crossing it, all it's really doing is telling us we're on that side of the line then. And that's it. So this light should never turn on if we're on this side of the line. And that seems to be true. But then as soon as we cross the line and we're on this side, then it switches. Well, sometimes it does weird things too. I think depending on when the sensors are active and deactive and when the pistons have retracted, it affects it as well. Ah, this is so cool. All right, everybody, so check this out. I'm really happy with this thing. It seems to be working pretty close to 100%, if not 100% now. With a few more restrictions on it, it works a lot better for sure. And you'll notice this is not just a T flip-flop that's bouncing back and forth. No, if we keep going through the same way, it's registering correctly that we're going that direction. So we've entered the room, we've exited the room, or whatever you want to use a directional detector for. This seems like it will do the trick just fine. So what we've done is we've buried it underground. We got a 7-block gap. So from the sensors here, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7 where the stone is. And by doing that, we have greatly lowered the area of detection. And that's what was kind of messing it up before. The bigger the area of detection, the more likely it's going to do weird things. Yeah, so what we've kind of done here is we've established an invisible 5-block wide line from the edge of the stone there to the edge of the lamps here down the middle. And whenever we cross that line, our redstone can figure out which direction we're traveling and then activate some redstone based on that, is the idea here. The major problems with this is if we enter the detection zone here and then we stay in it for longer than 2 or 3 seconds, like if we go here and then we walk forward, it's going to mess it up. But if we just straight through walk through, it's not going to be a problem. Likewise, there's like a 2 or 3 second delay before it can do another detection. Those pistons need to retract, right? So the other thing is we can't just like run in here and then run back this way and expect it to like know we went this way, right? It needs that extra time to do its thing. Sensors have a built-in like 1 second delay at the minimum as well. The other really cool thing about this though is it's pretty flexible depending on what you want to use it for. So for example, you might not like the piston sounds, because I sure don't. There's no rule that says you have to put the sensors right above the pistons like this. You can put the pistons lower underground and then run wire from the sensors to the pistons down lower. You won't hear them up above then. Likewise, you can add more redstone to your sensors. Like if you want to filter out certain sounds, that's allowed. and then just run it to your pistons. The only rule on that is whatever circuitry you add to your sensors, you need to make sure the delay is the same for all of them, because what we're really doing here is figuring out which sensor triggers first, and if one of them has more delay than the other one, it's going to off-put it and mess up your thing. What else here? You can have more than 2 sensors too. So for example, in our case here, we have a 5-block wide imaginary line you might put at the entrance to a room. What if your entrance to your room is 10 blocks wide? What do you do then? Well, you just need to add a couple more sensors in. If you want to go this way, at the depth we're at, there's basically a 2-block wide or 2-block radius area all around the sensor it's detecting up above there. So if you go 4 blocks over and at the 5th block add another sensor, then it will add 5 more blocks on your line this way. And likewise, you would need another sensor for over here. Connect these 2 together, run it to your piston. Connect these 2 together, run it to that piston. And then your line up above here would extend from here all the way to about over here. The other thing is you can also have more than one line. You can have another line, like say you have another entrance to the room. That's definitely allowed as well. Just add more sensors in a different area. But then you only want to have one memory unit per zone you're detecting. Like you don't want to have more than one set of pistons. Connect all your sensors to just the one set here. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys today. A little bit of a odd technical R&D sort of episode, a bit old school. Maybe not everybody's cup of tea, but I enjoyed it. I really like doing this kind of stuff. You know, I could build a house in this game, and I'll enjoy it a little bit. You guys will probably enjoy it a little bit as well, but I feel like this kind of stuff has a much bigger impact on the community. You know, probably triggers more ideas in you guys and that kind of stuff as well. So it's good to do these once in a while, I think. Comment of the day says, "Oi, Etho, mate, have you ever tried No Man's Sky? It has exploring, building, farming, and even more. Maybe you would like it if you try." Aha! So, No Man's Sky was going to get released, right? Everyone was hyped about it. I was hyped about it. A few months went by, a hype was building, and I was like, where's the gameplay? This doesn't seem like it has much gameplay. It released, I didn't buy it, everybody else bought it, and everybody hated it, and I felt so good about not buying it. Then eventually, a few patches later, I actually did a series with Beef. They released some big multiplayer patch for it, and had a sale on the game. I bought it, I tried it out with Beef. I actually really enjoyed it quite a bit at that time, even though it was like the first, like, initial drive to making the game good. Then they released a few more patches. I played it off camera a bit, and I really enjoyed it a lot more then, when I had time to take in what I was doing and all that kind of stuff, try out some of the new cool things. It's a good game. It's got its issues still, of course. I wish it was a bit more gamey. Usually when I play it, I just try to set my own goals and see how quickly I can acquire like some super spaceship and how fast I can do that kind of thing. Then it makes it a bit more interesting for me than just randomly hopping from planet to planet, not really having a goal in mind. I don't like the story in that game. It's not interesting to me. Anyways, hopefully you enjoyed this episode. Thank you for watching. Until the next one, take care. Bye-bye.